You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness. But still, like life, I'll rise.
I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless.
Welcome to the Black News Beat. It is the last night of the Get Help campaign, and I'm here to just round out the time, talk to you about the different things that are going on, and just, make it a really good night. But before we do that, I'm just going to pop in for a little, commercial. I always like to big up our sponsors and our people that really do a great job of being with us and helping us. So I'm just going to big up our folks right now.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Mi nombre es Néstor Romero. Nuestro objetivo es el servicio a la comunidad que desea tener su casa propia. Contar con un hogar es muy importante para nosotros, por ello estoy preparándome cada día más para servirles con todo profesionalismo y responsabilidad para que ustedes y mis clientes se sientan satisfechos con mi trabajo. Junto con mi equipo estamos listos para prestarles todos nuestros servicios. Nuestro equipo puede orientarles y llenar sus expectativas de todas las personas interesadas en comprar y vender una casa. Cuentan con mis conexiones, inspectores, prestamistas, constructores y carpinteros quienes están dispuestos a hacer realidad sus sueños, si se puede.
And we are back. So it's such an important night. It's the last night of the Get Help campaign for the state of Pennsylvania. They've been running this campaign throughout the holidays and into the new year. And I really, I took a moment yesterday to talk about my own experiences and what this campaign meant to me. So today I wanted to just, round it out. This is just as important to me as anything we do in the new year. So I just wanted to, have this time for us to talk about this. So if you're just tuning in, we are here talking about when it's time to get help for substance abuse and addiction, alcohol and other substances. So tonight is Getting Help is Power, right? It is the finale of the PA Get Help campaign. So we'll be just here for about 20 minutes, just talking. Feel free to, put your questions in the chat and all of that as we go through this. But a lot of times we know that in our communities, our Black and brown communities, we do not always talk about addiction. We talk about strength. We talk about healing. We talk about getting through it. But sometimes we don't acknowledge that some of the things we use to get through it are not probably the best methods. So last night I shared about how I got a DUI in 2010 that changed my life and actually led to a bipolar diagnosis. And tonight is about what came next, right? Getting help. And I talked a little bit about that too last night. I talked about how what getting help looked like, getting a psychological diagnosis, getting onto medication, and why that was important for me to manage what was happening to me, and also just finding out what was going on with me. But what is really important to hear is to know that you have to know what getting help looks like, right? And you have to know that this is not a one-size-fits-all proposition. Help can include treatment, therapy, diagnosis, medication, or support, just like I talked about. And I like to normalize. We're going to talk about normalizing late diagnosis and misdiagnosis in Black adults in particular. The problem wasn't weakness. The problem is a lot of times untreated illness. A lot of folks get diagnosed later. Like I was diagnosed till I was 27 or 28, or maybe 27 or 28. And I read a really important story about a woman who got diagnosed when she was almost 30. As a 30-year-old, you would think that you would understand all your health concerns, all the things that you have to do. But sometimes you do not get diagnosed with mental wellness and mental illness till later in life. And this doesn't just happen to everyday people, right? It happens to everyone. It happens to rich people, to poor people, to celebrities. And tonight I want to highlight a couple of famous people who actually got help, and they got it a little later. So the first person that I want to talk about is Demi Lovato. She was very open about her addiction, relapse, and recovery, and she has said that treatment has saved her life. So that's something that I want you to hold on to. Like, we see people on screen, we hear them, doing their craft, music, acting, and we think they have it all together. And I think by now in the world, we should know that celebrities do not have it all together, but we do develop these parasocial relationships with celebrities. I mean, just a second ago, we saw Chrissy and Desmond. Chrissy filed for divorce from Desmond. If you don't know who Chrissy and Desmond are, go look that up. And people were so heartbroken and so hurt that they were filing for this divorce because they looked like they had the perfect family. And while that is not an issue of necessarily dealing with substance addiction, they were dealing with another type of issue, and that's infidelity. But it's that parasocial relationship that doesn't help us see the lessons and what some of the celebrities that we know are dealing with, and how that can inform and really kind of break the expectations that we put on other people and on ourselves. And the point of this section is to destigmatize, right? Like, having an addiction and having a mental wellness concern is not a fault of yours. It is something that you're dealing with in your life that you can work through. And overcome is a hard word. Some people use that word, but I'm not a fan. Because I don't think you overcome certain things. I think you have to work through them and set a plan in order to be successful. Because some of these things are lifelong and you deal with them forever. And feeling like you have to overcome can also be a setback. So something I want to talk about there. Another person that we wanted to talk about is one of my favorite actresses, and that is Taraji P. Henson. Taraji P. Henson has talked very openly about depression and anxiety, and that has really helped me as a Black woman, who is moving in her community and doing certain things. It was really helpful for me to see her be so open about this. So I was very thankful, and I love watching her do what she does on screen. Love watching her talk about her journey. It's one that is very I can relate to without getting that parasocial relationship in there. She's also founded a mental health foundation because Black communities weren't getting help. So that's putting your work into action, like putting your own, diagnosis and issues into action for the community, because it is true. It's true that a lot of Black and brown folks are still in big 2026 not talking about mental health concerns. Mary J. Blige has also been very, very transparent about her addiction, depression, and choosing therapy and sobriety later in life. This is something that I think people don't realize. Like, you could be way late into your 30s and 40s and just now getting that chance and that lifeline. And that's okay, as long as you get it and as long as you're alive to see it. I think that's super important. And this one came as a surprise to me when I was doing a little work for this episode. Jay-Z. Jay-Z has talked about addiction, he's talked about therapy, he's talked about emotional growth, and framing vulnerability as leadership. And this is a brilliant, say what you will or will not about Jay-Z, but he has proven to be a very brilliant man. And so this has, and very smart, like when you listen to him talk and, say whatever we thought he did to Beyonce and what he did in other parts of his life, I really do think he has approached certain subjects with sensitivity, grace, and intelligence. And this happens to be one of them. And there's also an example of a Black man who has been able to talk about addiction and talk about how addiction can hurt you in a very interesting and layered manner. So shout out to Black men who are also dealing with addiction and how they're dealing with addiction, because it matters. Another, and that's my list there, but another thing I want to highlight is all of these celebrities have one thing in common: they are human, and that's something they have in common with you. So if you are struggling with addiction, struggling with alcoholism, any of the other things, my particular one was feeling like I was going to turn into alcoholic because of my father. And getting that DUI and then having to deal with that. and really confront some things in my life. But whatever you're dealing with and whatever you are going through, getting help is probably one of the best ways to curtail what is happening. And getting help did not end their lives. And this is a big fear. It's not just a misconception, it's a fear. People feel like exposing their addiction, exposing their illness, exposing what's going on with them because it feels so shameful, feels so hurtful. I mean, look at me, it's taken me 15, 16 years to talk about getting a DUI in 2010. I am going to be 45 this year. It's so shameful and so hurtful. You know, I'm in grad school, I'm trying to figure out my life, and here I am doing, getting in this kind of trouble. What is wrong with me, right? It's easy to beat yourself up. It's easy to feel like a failure. It's easy to feel like you can't go on. But getting help does not end your life. It saves your life. That's something you have to know. And addiction and mental health are linked. A lot of mental health goes untreated and people self-medicate, right? We use substances and things we think can help us without any oversight, without any supervision, and then we can get into an issue. Substance use is often self-medication. Undiagnosed bipolar disorder, which I had, was my first diagnosis, PTSD, depression, anxiety, and a host of other things can be masked when people are trying to treat it with certain substances. Also, that cultural pressure to push through, to be the superwoman. I'm not your superwoman, right? And some other kind of cultural and societal hang-ups that are kind of pushed onto us. These things can push us towards self-medicating and not going to the doctor. But at the first time you feel it off, or if you just notice you have been lethargic or you're sleeping a lot or whatever the case may be, it's okay to go to the doctor. It's okay to tell your PCP what's happening with you and to start the process of getting help. You would go to the doctor if you were feeling feeling sick, if you felt like your blood pressure was off, if you felt like, if you feel like you were having a heart concern, the flu, I just had the flu. This winter is horrible. I'm still dealing with it. So a lot of phlegm on my chest. And I saw a medical advice. I called the nurse advice hotline away from home. And I had to go to get a checkup because my chest again is still hurting. So just like you would go for any other medical issue, we should not be ashamed to go for addiction issues and for mental wellness concerns. And Black women are especially underdiagnosed when it comes to mental wellness concerns and can be at a greater risk for substance abuse. These are all documented things you can look up, and I can always provide references to these things. I wasn't a problem drinker, right? I didn't have these. I was not a functioning alcoholic like I talked about with my dad yesterday. I wasn't drinking every day. I still can't drink every day. I wasn't a heavy drinker, but I was an untreated patient, right? When I felt bad, I was trying to self-medicate. And what does that look like for folks who get into certain substance abuse patterns and then are too ashamed to talk about it because of what society does, but there's a real concern going on, right? What's up? How do we deal with that? We deal with that by building strong communities around us and making sure that we are not isolating ourselves from people who can really help us, and by making sure that we get what we need, right? We get the help that we need, and we rely on people who love and care for us to push us toward that help if we need it. These are all important things to do in order to really stave off this idea of staying in a state of unhelp, right? So here's the call to action that I want to talk about very quickly. If you're in Pennsylvania, that's where we're doing the Get Help PA campaign. And if you or someone that you love is struggling with drugs or alcohol, help is here. I will run the ticker again on the screen, but I want you to know help is here. I want you to know that you do not have to do this by yourself. This is very important to understand. A lot of folks really get caught up in trying to fix their own issues, and I've been there so many times trying to absolve themselves of their own problems, and sometimes it can make it worse. So if there's anything that I can advocate for is getting help early and making sure that you sustain that help for as long as it takes to help you manage what you're going through. So here in Pennsylvania, you can call 1-800-662-HELP or text 717-216-0905 for confidential, judgment-free support anytime, day or night. And the takeaway here is you are not alone. You are not alone. This is a very isolating thing that we can experience when we're dealing with substance abuse or dealing with different types of how we use substances, right? Substance abuse is also harsh because people don't feel like they're abusing a substance. They feel like they are trying to help themselves. They feel like they're trying to feel better. So it's difficult to think about it in the terms of abuse. But the way we use substances can be harmful to us, to the organs in our body, to our psychological health, to all these different things. But you are not alone. Help is real. And not only is help real, but it is helpful. That sounds so crazy to say, but it's positive. Help can really help you in a positive way, getting the help you need for substance abuse. And for me, for myself, I am thankful. I'm thankful that I was able to get help, even though it came in one of the most dastardly ways possible through a DUI that pushed me into a psychological evaluation that pointed to some things being wrong where I wouldn't have known if I wouldn't have got a full psych eval to figure out what's happening with me. So I'm thankful, even though it was difficult. If I wouldn't have taken that action 15, 16 years ago, if I wouldn't have had that DUI, I don't know if I would have gotten the right kind of help. And I don't know if I would have been helped in time. So take advice from somebody who's been through it. This is one of the things that you can do. Simply call a number, talk to someone. Just talking to someone puts things into perspective like nothing else. I'm going to say that number again. I'm going to put it up on the screen again. This is the website and the 800 number and the text number. You can use these anywhere in the state of Pennsylvania. And also, if you're out of state of Pennsylvania, I know your state also has similar things. You are not broken. You are not alone, and help is real. And with this special episode of the Black News Beat, that's what I want folks to know. You are not broken. You are not alone. There is something wrong, but there's not something wrong with you. Just like we go to the doctor for any other kind of issue, this is something that is treatable and solvable if you are open to that. And not just open to that. Sometimes you aren't open, but you got to take a leap of faith. So I'm hoping you take that leap of faith today. Again, Get Help PA, pa.gov/get-help, 1-800-662-HELP, text line, even got a text line. It's 717-216-0905, and it's 24/7 support. So I'm signing off, but I wanted to pop on here really fast. I'm going to make a couple reels for this. Again, one more time, help is here. Do you need help now? You are not alone. 1-800-662-HELP, 717-216-0905. You can also chat at pa.gov/get-help. All right. This is Dr. Tamika Campbell signing off for tonight. We'll be back in February with full episodes of the Black News Beat. We always take January off to just rest, and then we come back strong for Black History Month. Keep me in your thoughts. I'm still battling with a lot of phlegm in my chest from the flu. Get your flu shot. You do not want this. Get your COVID shot. You don't want it. I had COVID at the beginning of the year and ended the year with the flu, and still dealing with it in 2026. So keep me in your thoughts. But until then, until next time, I'm gonna see you all in February back on the show. Get what you need. Encourage other people too to get what they need. If you know somebody that's struggling, the information is here. I'm gonna put this banner up one more time. The help you need is here. Get help. pa.gov/help for chat assistance. 1-800-662-HELP. And texting 717-216-0905. All right. I will talk to you soon. Thank you, family, for tuning in. And I'll see you in February when I'm all jazzed up and dolled up and doing the show. But for now, be kind to yourselves. Love on yourselves. It is 2026. We want you to be loved, healthy, feeling like you can take on the day, right? And go forth and prosper and be who you want to be and do the things you said that you wanted to do with your life. So that includes getting help if you need it. And I love y'all. And I'll talk to you soon.